Otherwise. And they, so another text.
And three now,
No.
76, I think. Maybe this one, so.
So. We had argued. Man, that right. I don't know. We got it.
But I put the tires on, change the gear oil,
Okay.
and so
Put all over to this public.
they haven't played with these, we have planned to push that.
No.
Thanks for selling stuff, and selling it. Right. We got the someone was on this, I guess I get some money. And you look like garage is kind of crowded, so. I want to get the cars out. Right. Wow, good deal.
Clock. Order to stand for pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. This is the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice. Oh, please.
Mayor Mueller,
Here.
Councilmembers Epic, Eric Krakow, Eric Robinson.
Here.
Entertain a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
Make the motion, Mayor.
Motion by Councilmember Robinson, we have a second. Second by Councilmember Frecklow, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. And we will discuss before we act for a motion to approve the consent, we're gonna discuss items. Take it away, or we'll let your questions, I guess.
On Steve?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Mayor. No, I forgot to call Kate, it was last minute when I saw it, but. Excuse me, I just want to bring it to the public's attention and everyone's to see is, we're talking about, going on with the city coalition letter pertaining local zoning and authority. Basically, it's a letter to the mayor of, Ramsey. I can say this right, Mayor Kuzma, proposed a letter along, these lines that Oak Grove has already had an infringement years ago, and they fought the fact that the state government or the Metropolitan Council wanted to be overlords and tell people what to do or tell cities what to do with their zoning ordinances and where to put things, whether it be multi-housing or trains or this or that. So I just want to bring it to the public's attention that we want to be a part of this along with the other cities. From talking to Mayor Mueller that we want to be a part of this, but basically the overview, and Kate did sum it up really nice, is over the past couple of years, there have been many legislative attempts by the state to restrict the zoning abilities that cities currently have. And drop down a little bit, the letter's intent is to support solutions instead of mandates from the state. We deal with this a lot, and cities, our neighboring cities have dealt with it a lot, whether it be stormwater or other things. The city brings, stuff comes down from high, and we're supposed to vow and take care of business. So the legislature continues to push for the removal of zoning controls from the city. The mayor's letter that they'd like us to sign on to, there were some key points that I thought were important. One of the excerpts is that we do share the deepest concerns of what we see as exceptionally ill-advised and harmful efforts presently circulating in the legislature that seek to eliminate or reduce the role of cities in our zoning decisions. That's very important. I mean, we have several layers of government for a reason, so we don't need Big Brother telling us what to do. The rules and regulations were set up a long time ago, and the set up so there was some equity about the citizens who live here, and it should take a part in it. Another excerpt I want to read. The legislature does nothing to guarantee or increase affordable housing, but may in fact increase the unaffordability or unattainability of homeownership by mandating and prioritizing efficiency over affordability. The key thing for me was efficiency over affordability. Again, let's do it. We'll worry about the cost later, but let's do it. I totally, it drives me crazy. Lastly, excerpt number 4, the legislation would appear to be a case study of special interest and uninformed reformers seeking to impose a harmful outcome for citizens in the cities we represent. So I want the public to be aware of House File 4009, Senate File 3964, House File 4010, Senate File 3980, and House File 1667, one more, Senate File 1370. And again, I want to credit Mayor Mark Kuzma for putting this letter together. And I just want everybody to be aware, if you have concerns, you should reach out to your legislators. We vote them in, if you should be voting first. We vote them in, they should be doing our work, not the work from outside interests. And again, there's other entities like the Met Council who have unlimited, pretty much seems to be unlimited money, and they're unelected officials, so we can't really change some of that stuff. Our voices still can be heard, so I just wanted that to be known. Thank you.
Well said. Anybody else have anything else to add? All right. With that, we will entertain a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda. We have a motion.
Make that motion, Mayor.
Motion by Councilmember Udvig. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Creflo. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Meeting open to the public. Do we have anybody that would like to speak? No. We'll move on to new business. Item A, MOU between the city of St. Francis and LELS 411 sergeants.
Mayor and Council, before you tonight is the final MOU that we've been kind of working through this winter for our sergeants in regards to getting them in line with the vacation and severance that was updated in the personnel policy last year. This has been reviewed, and with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
The only question was, you said that this started last year. How come it's taken so long to get to this step? Were there hiccups along the way, or were there issues? Not to get into negotiations here at the table, but I'm just kind of curious if we've already put it into the policy. And if it's just to mimic that, then what were the hiccups?
Yeah, Mayor and Council, so LELS has a bit of a complicated system. Both of our teams have different reps, and it's been in between where the reps have handled them differently internally. And then this one had just one more sentence that they had asked for an update, so it's just the process itself takes more time.
I have one question. Kate, with the new rules that come into play for leave and whatnot, daily leave down from the state, is any of that intermingled, or is that some housekeeping also intermingled with what the union are asking for? Or my curiosity was also, do they, because it's coming from another area, do they get that automatically adopted as part of their gig, or is that part of the negotiations? Are there two separate lines here, or? So
Mayor and Council, to answer all of your questions. So ESST, for example, is the one that is a state mandate. We are required to honor it at its base. We have provided them our personnel policy and how we transitioned all of our sick leave into an ESST policy. However, their attorneys are in the process of reviewing our personnel policies to see if they're in agreement. And they have hundreds of them to agree or to read through. So we're waiting for final words. But we may have one more housekeeping piece. However, we are at a point where we're going to start negotiations with both of the LELS entities any day now. So some of this maybe another housekeeping step through an MOU. Some of it could just roll over to 2020.
Okay. And is it fair to say that the unions can ask for these things that they haven't had previously, let's just call them pieces? But then you, as employees of the city, you don't really get the same opportunity to ask for if the union has some pieces of their benefits, so to speak. You can't in return say, it's just kind of interesting that they got some of that. Let us have some of that too. And nothing against what's going on. It's just part of life. But I'm just trying to wrap my head around the fact that also new stuff that's come down that we don't have. Let's get some of that too.
Correct, Mayor and Council, the union bargaining units do have opportunities to expand on the minimum benefits where the non-union, non-bargaining unit personnel are with the minimum standards that we set in the personnel policy. The bargaining units can always go above and beyond that. Even on issues with the state laws, they can request further where typically that would be a personnel policy change that we would have to make for all staff.
Sure.
Better than.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that. So,
I will entertain a motion to approve the updates to the collective bargaining agreement as written.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Councilmember Freckles, do you have a second?
I'll second, Mayor.
Second by Councilmember Robinson, all in favor? Aye. Motion carries. That's just one item, right? It covers both. Okay. Now move on to item B. Support for federal appropriations.
Mayor and Council, before you tonight, so this spring, we had received several kind of inquiries from our federal legislators to put in a request for federal appropriations. They've sent out a few kind of, here's your opportunity if you'd like to get on the list. We've submitted 2 of them to Emers Group, and we submitted 2 to Staubers Group, and Emers Group has grabbed 1. So out of those requests, we asked for $6 million to do the water and sewer utilities that would go from Cree to Ambassador, along with our highway reconstruct project. But along with that, our piece from Ambassador to 241st, which would then allow that growth and development that our plant needs, and that we're so dependent on to get that expansion with a federal appropriation takes that off of our current users being part of the process that's going to have to help pay for any expansions as well. So I've been working almost weekly with Emers Group, getting in the letters of recommendation, letters of support. We have received them from the city of Oak Grove, from our Vista Prairie project, from the school district, from the Baptist church. I have others that are on their way in. So they're collecting that and are very, they feel that's a very favorable project. It does have a match requirement. They are only by federal law able to fund 80% of it, but even our 20% is less than our required portion would be if we don't get it. No matter what we need to address that piece from Cree Street to Ambassador. This would jump this a little bit ahead of our reconstruction project, but being that it's better to possibly cut into old pavement than new pavement, we're still okay with that. And we would have efficiencies and cost savings if we mobilize for the current reconstruction needs along with the expansion at the same time. It would save everybody money. So with that, we are required as well to do a support for the federal appropriations. I will submit this to our team as part of our overall package. In the packet, I also included some of the pieces that we were talking about with Emers team in regards to where the lines go through town and some of their size. But with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions, Kevin?
No questions, Mayor.
Yeah.
Any questions either?
No question.
I would just comment and like to thank you for your hard work on this. Obviously, it's a request for federal appropriations. So there's nothing stamped in there, but I think if we do get this huge, it's definitely going to help growth. It's definitely going to save us money, and it's a step in the right direction. So with that, I will entertain a motion to approve resolution 2024-13. Resolution supporting a request for federal appropriations. Yeah, motion by Councilmember Udvig. Do we have a second?
Okay.
Second by Councilmember Freckles. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We'll move on to item C, Serenity at Sealy Brook.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mayor and Council, before you tonight is the final plat and the associated development agreement for the Serenity at Sealy Brook development. This is a subdivision that would create 4 rural residential lots on the west side of the city along Sealy Brook between Bridgestone Road and Ambassador. All the lots are between 4.5 and about 8 acres in size. They would be on private utilities and have access off of Bridgestone Road. Staff finds that the final plat is substantially conforming with the preliminary plat that was approved back in October of 2023. And is therefore recommending approval tonight of that final plat and the development. I'm happy to stand for questions.
I didn't have any questions on it.
Kevin?
No questions, I don't think we could work on it. It seems like we were doing this only yesterday, but it's 2023 with it then. No, it started out at 8 and then it was 6 lots and then it came down to 4 lots. And from an aesthetic standpoint, it's gonna fit the road and the street better, it'll be safer. And there'll be nice lots, there'll be some nice homes over there, so appreciate the work done and glad it's happening.
You, sir? I have no questions either. I would echo this to Kevin said. So with that, we will entertain a motion to adopt resolution 2024-14, approving the final plat, the Serenity at Seabrook subdivision, conditions and finding of fact. As presented.
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
Motion by Councilmember Robinson, do we have a second? Second by Councilmember Udvig, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Meeting open to the public. Change your mind?
No,
All right.
I'll have fun saying it later.
All right, we'll move on to reports. Item A, police department first quarter report.
Mayor and council, before you use the first quarter report from the police department, and as you know, we began the year by adding a new officer to the department, Officer Andrew Human. Appears to be doing very well at field training. He's eager, he has a great attitude, and we do hope to have him through field training and on his own by early summer. Officers were fairly busy during the quarter, generating 1,617 instant crime reports, which is an increase over the first quarter of last year, when we were at 1,363 incidents. This included 76 reportable offenses, 914 non-reportable offenses, as well as 627 traffic stops. Officers issued 103 citations during the quarter, and 23 incidents were turned over to the department investigator. And just to clarify, the reportable and non-reportable offenses, so the reportable and non-reportable offenses have replaced the part 1 and 2 and the 3, 4, and 5 offenses that we're used to. This is because we've gone, in the last couple of years, we got the NIBRS reporting system, which is the National Incident-Based Reporting System, which is required by the FBI. So this is how we report now, and so the reportable offenses, which replace the 1 and 2, are basically the data that's collected by the FBI for the uniform crime report. So in the 3, 4, 5, that's some of our normal activity that is not collected by the FBI. So any questions on that, feel free to reach out to me. Officers and staff completed 143 hours of training during the quarter, which included EVOC or Emergency Vehicle Operators course, crime motivated by bias, use of force, mobile field force, and active shooters, to name a few of them. And also spring and summer are busy times for community outreach events. We began in February with a Winning with Cops event at the bowling alley, where we saw an outstanding turnout. As Officer Hearn continues to build that program. We have Citizens Academy, which began last week and runs through mid-May, as well as the bike rodeo in early June. We'll have a number of additional events as we get to late summer and fall, such as Home of the Cop, National Night Out, and the deal. So police department staff are doing an outstanding job. They're staying busy with all the extras everyone is doing. And in addition to their normal job duties, whether it's training in new officers, attending training themselves, community outreach, etc. So they're all doing a great job. And we're really fortunate to have the staff that we do doing what they do. So that's basically the first quarter in a nutshell, and I can answer any questions if there are.
Thank you. Question, Sarah?
I do not have any questions on the report. I appreciate your hard work and all the officers. Like I said, it's good to see them all in the community, visiting with the kids, the residents. It makes me feel very confident in our police force that our residents are very comfortable with them. I think that's all to
Thanks, Sarah. Crystal?
I don't have any questions. I know what Sarah said. My husband and our granddaughter play the park up by the school quite a bit, and he noticed an increased police presence in the area, and he thought it was great to have that security as well.
Kevin?
I also appreciate what you guys have been doing. And again, the community outreach is outstanding, and the relationship and the bond we've built over the years. It's too bad the SRO program still isn't. It would actually be more beneficial because it'd be starting the middle youth groups that are seems to be, where some of the trouble starts, but, you guys do an outstanding job and keep up the good work. I was just curious, allow you for your opinion as far as reporting nationally. They're saying crime is down, the federal FBI reports, blah, blah, blah. Are they tweaking with some of the statistics and making it sound better than it is? And are some people, you read a lot and are part of law enforcement group as a whole, are they saying there's some stuff that we're just not, people aren't reporting it? There's incidents occurring, but the reporting area is down, so people are.
I think some of it could contribute to that. I think, I can't speak for the FBI, but I think their data collection is probably pretty accurate, pretty consistent year to year, and how they analyze it. As far as city to city, that's anybody's guess. I think it's probably dependent on the politician making that speech at the time. So, in which way they maybe lean, I don't know. I mean,
I wasn't trying to put you on the spot.
no,
I see trends better than we do.
you see trends, and again, I think that's up to leadership, my opinion on how that city is ran, and if they want to make assumptions and determine that crime is down, I guess that's up to them. As far as how they determine that from city to city, I don't know, but as far as nationally, I would say that the FBI is probably the most reliable source out there right now, and consistency and reporting data, reporting crimes. So from city to city.
All right. Well, my heart gets heavy when I hear on some of the people who are getting shot at, or injured, or wounded, or killed. It just, and the increase seems to be, I don't know if you're hearing more of it, or it's more I think more of it's happening, my personal opinion, more of it's happening, it's not as well as more of it, but it just, the disrespect is beyond me. So, you're doing a great job, keep it up, I appreciate it.
The only question I have is curious how you're doing on the cops.
What do you mean, cops?
Housing with cops, Citizens Academy.
Good, I think right now, I think you had a late edition, last night, so I think, or last week, I'm sorry. I think he had 7, which is pretty good, and just, very, I guess, into learning and eager to learn. Just had a lot of fun first time around. So yeah, I would consider that a good turnout. We've gotten later editions, the past years after we've wanted to too, so they're going to be appreciated. So it was a good first time.
Cool. Yeah, I don't have any other questions. I just think, again, the support for you guys, the fact that you do what you do, and then with the officers, well, they make our job a little easier too. We're not getting any negative, feedback, which is awesome. You guys do a great job. The community outreach is huge. And then it impresses me. I don't know if it's because I'm on the council, but I see more of it, or what. I don't know if other cities do as much. But that's definitely cool. So thank you. And we'll move on now to the fire department monthly report.
Mayor and council, for your review, we have the fire department monthly report for the month of March. Despite a very frustrating implementation process with our new records management system, some changes to our programming, and now finally getting to a point where we have some reliability in our data, and our learning curve has certainly shrunk. We're finally able to extrapolate some data for you guys to review back on a monthly basis. I'm pleased to report for the month of March, we saw a pretty significant decrease in our response times from the previous years, down to 8 minutes and 29 seconds. I do think one of the contributing factors of this is now that we're live with Station 2 over in Bethel, that's certainly helping on the east side of town cut down some of those response times. So we are seeing an immediate impact from that. We did have a busy month in March with 55 calls of service on the month. Our numbers are increasing, and again, that is a reflection of bringing on Station 2 into the fold, where we saw an increase in the average number of firefighters responding calls of 5.8. The other interesting part of March, and again, contributing to this, is our dry spring this far. We did see an increase in our fire runs over the month, so nothing overly significant for the month, which I'm happy to report, but we continue to watch the weather patterns as we go out through the rest of the spring. Our variance usage was pretty similar from previous years. We did know 3 ambulance response times over 20 minutes, 2 of which I want to bring up. One where we experienced an ambulance response time of nearly 40 minutes. And another one on cardiac arrest in the overnight hours, we recorded a response time of 26 minutes. So Again, we're still seeing a lot of variability and lack of consistency in our EMS partners for all of the same reasons that every other industry continues to face. I felt it important to bring those two to particular attention. And we're very busy on our code enforcement end of things for March as well, with 14 initial inspections, with 3 re-inspections, with a total of 17 site visits on them. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
So that ambulance call, the 3, can you talk a little bit more about, you said one was 40 minutes?
Correct.
I mean, and I understand there is an EMT shortage, right? I get that. Is that impacting us that much that one of our citizens had to wait 40 minutes for an ambulance?
Yeah, so there's a number of issues that are contributing. The largest, of course, is the worker shortage. We have initiated quarterly meetings with the medical director from Alina and the fire chiefs group throughout the county to address some of these concerns. Our first meeting took place in March, and one of the things that I hadn't even realized yet is the overflow that they're also experiencing at the hospitals. So if they can't move patients off of the floor, they can't move patients out of the ED, which now we're starting to back up ambulances that have nowhere to drop the patients off the hospital. There's a number of reasons for that, but that's also another contributing factor. The other piece is, as reimbursement rates decline for hospitals, there's a lot of movement of patients between hospitals. One of the statistics that the doctor shared with us was just in 2023 alone, Alina Ambulance did 7,000 transfers between Unity and Mercy. That's hospital to hospital.
Wow.
So when we look at all of those things that impact local communities, that's one. That is why you're starting to hear a lot of discussion at the legislature on the amount of problems that we're having in EMS, how we're going to fix those problems, allocating some financial resources to those problems. I don't know that we found the perfect solution yet. Quite frankly, I don't know that there is the perfect solution. But the fact that we have the legislature now hearing us, I think is going to position us for a very different future, with hopefully better outcomes for everybody.
Thank you.
You said 7,000 transfers
7,000 transfers between Unity and Mercy alone
in a month or
in a year.
a year? Oh, that's crazy.
That's a lot of movement.
Wow. And when the last meeting I attended with you was 7 or 8 months ago or so, they went at 40 some ambulances on order, and there were years to be built, just like the fire engines, etc.
Right.
And then people put in them is the bigger problem as well. So you can have all the equipment you want, but you've got nobody operating equipment. What good is it?
It's very difficult.
Huh. A couple questions for you. With the Bethel ad, have you had any newbies other than the people who you anticipated coming over? Have you had any recruitment of new citizens or young men or women going, hey, that might be a good idea?
Yes, we've actually had a couple inquiries. We did send 2 in for pre-employment screening. Unfortunately, one was unsuccessful in their pre-employment screening, but we're hoping to still bring 1 forward. We will be bringing 1 resignation from that station forward at our next council meeting. So right now, we're staffed at 10, which, as you know, going through the process with Bethel for the last couple of years, pretty much doubled their staffing over there.
Sure.
And those that are assigned over there are very active, very happy, and continue to be great workforce over there.
That was my next question, as far as their enthusiasm or moderate temper, all yeah, or no, that's cool. And they live in that area of town anyway, which.
Yep. As with any change, right, there's some apprehension and there's some anxiety, which we've worked through, and
Sure.
right, some of our staff that we've transitioned over there are longtime members, 15, 17 years of service.
And they're part of this plan here.
And now everything's very different, right? And so we expected some of those anxieties and some of that anxiousness. To everybody's credit, everybody has had kind of a yeoman's effort with this, and has really dug in to try to make this the best situation that it can be. We have a long way to go. It's a process, right?
Right.
We have made significant strides, not only in the quality of the worker welfare areas over there, updating their fleet, putting the appropriate equipment on the fleet, and just trying to make that station operate as it should. We've had great cooperation from the city of Bethel on some of the things that have needed to happen and forecasting some of the things that we need to do further down the road. So I'm encouraged that everything's moving in the right direction.
Well, good. And I can tell the enthusiasm when you explain those things that it's positive, you're not just glossing over it.
It's been a labor of love, but I am very pleased with where we're at today, in a very short period.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
Your temporary facilities in Public Works campus, are they all dialed to the way you like them, or you still have any major issues that need addressed, or we should be looking at, or help?
I don't think so. So we did have a small issue a couple weeks ago. Fortunately, at this time of year, it was the right time of year to have the heat fail. So not on a 30 below day when you have, you need water to come out of the fire engine.
Sure.
Public Works has been great at helping us coordinate any needs that we have over there. Everybody understands that it's temporary, it's not perfect, and we want to make sure that we'll be very wise about any investments that we make over there, knowing it's a temporary facility. So all in all, things are working as they should.
Well, it still brings a big smile to anyone's face as they go by the new structure that's happening, like, we're all on it, just a little bit more, just a little bit more.
Excitement is very well.
Just a little bit more.
There's a lot of excitement for that. So,
That's cool. And then last, any progress or success in getting help, outside help or whatever for frequent users of your medical needed side of your response?
again, that was a large topic when we met with the medical director. There's a lot of different avenues in which we can explore resources for those that are struggling with the community, whether that's through the county, whether that's through a nonprofit, or whether that's through the hospital system.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, I don't know that any one of those answers is the silver bullet, and I don't know that silver bullet does exist. What we have done is continue to focus on education and direction and connection where we have the ability to do so. But we also need third-party vendors, whether it's the county or the hospital systems, to continue to partner in this. Again, from the hospital side, everybody's showing, right? From the county side, everybody's overwhelmed. But we continue to try to make those connections wherever and whenever we can. Unfortunately, I think this is just going to continue to be a growing problem within our society, not just here locally.
And in some cases, family members or distant family members aren't available, or either aren't willing or unavailable, whether the case is a different shape, but the people that need our help are still taxpayers and citizens. We, they're paying their dues too and deserve some service, so. Appreciate you wanting to.
If you take just the financial metrics of it, right now, assisted senior living beyond independent care is averaging anywhere between $13,000 and $15,000 per month, depending on the level of service. So there's a lot of barriers that we're trying to overcome. And unfortunately, for a lot of people, that type of ability to pay those fees are becoming less and less common.
Well, they probably have a little or no mortgage at this time in their life, and they're getting X amount of dollars from Social Security, and that only goes so far. You still have heat, utilities, and, sustenance to go, so. Very good, well, very good report, appreciate, all you guys do, and please let them know that we they have our continued support.
Absolutely, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I didn't have any questions, but I do echo Kevin, please. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys as well. I'm just curious, how was this year with now then?
So we're continuing to try and generate some traction. I had a meeting last week with the city administrator and the mayor over there to really start to hone in on where they need to be today, despite maybe a little bit slower process or progress on what we initially agreed to for this year. So we met with the state fire marshal's office. I think that was a good pivot point for them to reaffirm the direction that they desire to go. So I'm hoping that we'll see some progress over there as they continue to kind of work towards their independence, at least for the time being. But things continue to work well over there. I think they're ready to make that, I hope they're ready to make that jump. And I think just some affirmation from the state fire marshal's office last week was beneficial for them. So hope to have more here in the next couple weeks, but we did have another third party visit that was kind of helping them with the decision making process.
And it looks like our full-time split position, hybrid position can help with expecting more inspections done too.
He's been really overwhelmed with this records management system. He's really taken a strong lead in trying to fix and understand and facilitate the records management system, which has been a tremendous help. He is absolutely doing a great job just trying to close off some of these things that were kind of hoisted upon us from the county. He's been busy, he's been great. It's been an absolute pleasure to have him on board.
Thank you guys again for everything. Some answer of the department. I'm glad to hear that the east side facility definitely helps them too. That helps everybody.
Absolutely.
Mayor, may I ask a side question to your question?
Absolutely.
Chief, what you brought up now, then, with this being May almost just around the corner, 6 months left in the year. You have not a drop dead date, not the right term, but when do you actually, you brought the fire marshal in, you had a POW meeting and. At what time of 2024 do you say it's re-up or, fly or fall? I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I guess I'll do my best to answer it two ways. As part of this agreement for this year, we have structured out what this year looks like. Mainly because they have had the assertion from the start that this is going to be an independent project. Through some transition, they were running short on time at the end of 2023, so we negotiated a plan for this year. With some goalposts, if you will, along the way. They have at times, been overwhelmed with other issues in the city that maybe the fire department wasn't getting the attention that it needed to move that progress forward with what we had structured out as far as goalposts for 2024. Again, not indictment on anybody or anything, but that's where they're at today. I think they needed some affirmation from yet another third party, which is why the state fire marshal was brought in. Help them gain some traction and some confirmation on the process that they are moving forward. As far as a drop dead date, as we have structured for this year, that goalpost was kind of the end of third quarter, that they would be functioning on their own and we would be more in that advisory capacity. Whether or not they'll be able to get there, I can't answer that at this time, but that's still the goal, is to get them a fire chief on board, go through the training process and onboarding process, and gracefully start to pull ourselves back out of that. So I'm hoping that that's still the case. We'll continue to have dialogue and discussion and ensure that we're doing what we can to help.
Do you have a plan B, and are you capable of a plan B with your department and what you already have on your plate? If they say we're just not ready and we need another year.
Well, this is emergency services, so we usually have plan A, B, C, D, and C. And I do, right, our intention would never be to leave anybody in a position where they're vulnerable, right? What that potentially may look like when we get to that point, I think there's still a lot of information and processes that may need to take place before we can really start to put some guardrails on what potentially that may look like if they're unable to. So I think it's always a discussion about where this could potentially go, whether that's the end of this year or 5 years from now, right? Because I don't think anybody's challenges are gonna end at the end of 24 magically. So I think, yes, I think we have had some considerations, but at the same rate, they have to have some accountability and continuing to move forward with the process that they have set forward. And if they have failures along the way, we can certainly discuss what some of those opportunities may be to continue to solve these skills.
So they have the expectations, they know them clearly.
Correct.
Yeah, just make sure that you guys have the capabilities and the desire to back it up. Be ready to jump in and say, well, we're gonna go for another year, and not begrudgingly, but you have a product that you're offering or not offering, you have a product that, and you have your own life to lead on this side of the world as far as Bethel now, et cetera.
Yep.
And again, we would never leave anybody in the lurch for sure, but.
Right. And I'm gonna have some faith right now that they're gonna continue to start moving forward with some fidelity and start getting some of those goalposts. So we don't have to have those conversations, but again, we wouldn't leave them in the lurch, but I think the negotiation might be a little bit different. They're not able to achieve.
Okay, but I never underestimate your capabilities, but I just make sure everybody knows what's going on.
For sure, it's a valid question, absolutely.
Thank you, that's all, thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome.
With that, any other questions? Chief? We move on to council member reports.
I don't know.
Joe?
Thank Kate for all she's doing with this building, this is the big deal. We had a tour 2 weeks ago with, the mayor of Oak Grove, Mayor Rolfe, and then Mike Wiley, one of the council members. She was already there in the morning, and she came back in the afternoon just to show us around. But I didn't realize you had how much time involved during the week of your own life to lead over here. So again, an extended thank you to, this is for that to be given to you, put on your workload is interesting, and it's way more than I think anybody anticipated, as well as Jenny and anybody else that I'm not mentioning, but you guys are out there a lot and the time that it takes to do it, it's appreciated. So those who are part-timers here, we don't get to see or know that all the way, but our gratitude is extended. Spring Recycle Day is coming up, April 27th, Saturday. It should be a good, hopefully a good weather day. I don't look that far ahead, but that's coming. So, time to get the crap out of your yard, bring it to our yard, and we'll take care of it for you. Let's see. That's all I have. Thank you.
I don't have anything to report, but I do want to mention that, the Miss St. Francis Ambassadors will have another informational, meeting tomorrow night, April 16th at 7 p.m. At Beef O'Brady's. So if you're interested in being a little miss, you need to have finished first grade to fourth grade, and if you want to be Miss St. Francis, you need to have finished ninth grade up to age 21. So if you're interested, show up at Beef O'Brady's and we'll guide you through the process.
I don't have a lot to report, I guess. I fielded a few phone calls from residents and business owners. Paul helped me out with one of them, the public works. They're curious as to why we're sweeping up the streets and county road. I was explaining there's a reason for things to be done. We're not just out there wasting your money. I'll say that. I'd like to thank all staff for everything as well. And I responded to a Facebook post that I was back then. And tried to educate the public on kind of how city contracts work as opposed to private. So hopefully that was helpful. With that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make the motion.
By Councilmember Robinson, second by Councilmember Freckle, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries, meeting here at 6:40 p.m.